Have you ever felt like your own mind is your worst enemy, like you're trapped in a prison of your own thoughts, watching as negativity devours your dreams, your confidence, your very soul? You wake up each morning and before your feet even touch the floor, that familiar voice whispers, "You're not good enough. You'll fail again. Why even try?" If you're nodding right now, if you feel that ache in your chest, recognizing yourself in these words, then you're exactly where you need to be. Because today we're not just talking about positive thinking or quick fixes. Today we're diving into the profound wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the ancient world who faced plagues, wars, and betrayal, yet discovered the ultimate secret to mastering the mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his personal journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But here's what most people miss. He wasn't writing this from a place of strength. He was writing this while struggling with his own demons, his own crushing responsibilities, his own moments of despair. Picture this: you're the emperor of the known world, yet every morning you wake up fighting the same battle we all fight, the battle against your own negative thoughts, the weight of an empire on your shoulders, people depending on you, and still that inner critic trying to tear you down. That's why his wisdom isn't just philosophy, it's survival. It's the difference between drowning in your thoughts and learning to breathe underwater. It's the difference between being a victim of your mind and becoming its master. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you 8 transformative principles that will fundamentally change how you relate to your thoughts. Not surface-level tips, but deep, soul-shaking truths that will make you question everything you thought you knew about your mind's power over you. We'll explore how to catch negative thoughts before they catch you, how to transform mental storms into inner strength, and how to build an unshakable fortress of peace within yourself, just like Marcus Aurelius did over 2,000 years ago. But here's the thing. This only works if you commit. If you're ready to stop being a passenger in your own life and start being the driver, then hit that like button right now. Drop a comment telling me your biggest struggle with negative thinking. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel because we're building a community of mental warriors. And whatever you do, don't skip any part of this video. Each principle builds on the last, and missing even one could mean missing your breakthrough. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I am the master of my thoughts, not their slave. Are you ready to kill your negative thinking once and for all? Let's begin. Here's the brutal truth that no one wants to tell you. You've been fighting the wrong battle your entire life. You've been trying to control your thoughts like a general commanding an army, but thoughts aren't soldiers. They're more like weather patterns, constantly shifting and changing beyond your direct control. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply when he wrote, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does." But he wasn't just talking about external distractions. He was talking about the internal ones too. The thoughts that demand your attention, that insist on being heard, that scream for validation or reaction. Think about yesterday. How many times did you catch yourself spiraling into negativity? Maybe it started with one small worry, a text that went unanswered, a look someone gave you, a mistake at work. And like a snowball rolling downhill, that single thought gathered momentum, collecting more negative thoughts until it became an avalanche that buried your entire day. You probably told yourself, "I shouldn't think this way. I need to be more positive. Why can't I just stop?" And with each failed attempt to forcefully stop the negative thoughts, you felt more frustrated, more defeated, more convinced that you're somehow broken. But here's what Marcus Aurelius discovered in his darkest moments. The goal isn't to control every thought. It's to change your relationship with them. Instead of being the victim of your thoughts, you become the observer. Instead of drowning in the storm, you learn to watch it pass. Imagine your mind is like a radio picking up different stations. Right now, you might be tuned into the negativity FM station. It's loud, it's persistent, and it feels so real. But just because you can hear it doesn't mean you have to listen. Just because a negative thought appears doesn't mean it's true, important, or worthy of your energy. The first step to killing negative thinking isn't fighting harder, it's fighting smarter. It's recognizing that thoughts are just mental events, no different from sounds in the distance or clouds in the sky. They come, they exist for a moment, and if you don't feed them with your attention, they naturally fade away. This revelation alone will change everything, because once you stop being afraid of your thoughts, they lose their power over you. Right now, as you're watching this, your negative thoughts are probably trying to pull you into two places where they have absolute power: the regret-filled past or the anxiety-riddled future. Because here's what Marcus Aurelius discovered during his most challenging campaigns. Negative thoughts cannot survive in the present moment. He wrote, "Confine yourself to the present, not as a casual suggestion, but as a battle strategy." When barbarian tribes threatened Rome's borders, when advisors betrayed him, when his own son disappointed him, Marcus found refuge in this one powerful truth. This moment, right here, right now, is the only place where you have real power. Let me ask you something that might shake you. When was the last time you were genuinely present? Not half listening while scrolling your phone, not thinking about your to-do list while in conversation, but truly, completely here. Most of us live like ghosts in our own lives, constantly somewhere else mentally. And that's exactly where negative thinking thrives. Your negative thoughts are master storytellers. They paint vivid pictures of past failures. Remember when you embarrassed yourself? Everyone still thinks you're a fool. They create elaborate future disasters. You're going to fail again. You'll end up alone and forgotten. But notice something crucial. They never attack you in the present moment. They can't. Because in the present, you're not the person who failed yesterday or the person who might fail tomorrow. In the present, you simply are. Here's a technique Marcus Aurelius used that will revolutionize your mental state. When negative thoughts attack, anchor yourself with your senses. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice your breathing, the cool air entering, the warm air leaving. Hear the sounds around you. See the colors, textures, light. Your negative mind will resist this. It will say, "This is silly. Your problems are real. You can't just ignore them." But you're not ignoring your problems. You're approaching them from a place of strength rather than weakness, clarity rather than chaos. The present moment isn't an escape from reality. It's where reality actually exists. It's where solutions are born, where peace lives, where you remember who you truly are beneath all those stories your mind tells you. Inside your mind right now, there's a war raging between two voices. One voice, let's call it the inner critic, sounds exactly like every person who ever made you feel small, worthless, or not enough. It speaks with the voice of your harshest teacher, your most disappointing parent, your cruelest bully. But there's another voice, often buried beneath years of conditioning, that sounds like Marcus Aurelius himself, wise, compassionate, and unshakably strong. The inner critic knows exactly what to say to destroy you. It whispers, "You're a fraud," and everyone knows it. "You don't deserve happiness. Look at everyone else succeeding while you're stuck." It's been practicing for years, collecting evidence against you, building a case for your worthlessness. But Marcus Aurelius faced his own inner critic while leading an empire through plague and war. He wrote, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" He realized that the voice condemning him was often more destructive than any external threat. Here's what will shock you. That critical voice isn't even yours. It's a collection of other people's fears, insecurities, and limitations that you've internalized. You've been carrying around other people's garbage and calling it your truth. The inner emperor, your true self, speaks differently. It says, "You are learning. You are growing. You are exactly where you need to be." It doesn't deny your challenges. It reframes them as opportunities. It doesn't ignore your mistakes. It honors them as teachers. Right now, listen to the voice in your head. Is it building you up or tearing you down? Is it speaking to you the way you'd speak to someone you love, or the way an enemy would speak to someone they want to destroy? Marcus Aurelius chose to listen to his inner emperor, even when the world was falling apart around him. He chose wisdom over worry, strength over self-destruction, leadership over victimhood. And every time you choose to listen to your inner emperor instead of your inner critic, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're reclaiming your throne. The critic will always be there, but it doesn't have to rule you. The emperor within you is waiting to rise. Every negative thought you've ever had is trying to protect you from one thing: pain. Your mind has become overprotective, like a paranoid bodyguard who sees threats everywhere. It tells you not to try because you might fail, not to love because you might get hurt, not to dream because you might be disappointed. But Marcus Aurelius discovered something revolutionary about pain that will change everything for you. In his darkest hour, losing his beloved son, facing betrayal and plague, he wrote, "The mind that pursues the good, whether it achieves it or not, is honored by the very act of pursuit." He wasn't just philosophizing. He was teaching us that our pain can become our greatest teacher. Our deepest wounds can become our strongest foundations. Think about the most painful experience in your life. Maybe it was rejection, failure, loss, betrayal. Your negative thinking probably tells you, "See, this proves you can't trust life. This proves you're not meant to be happy." But what if I told you that pain isn't punishment, it's preparation? Every negative thought is pointing to something you value. Fear of failure reveals how much success means to you. Fear of rejection shows how deeply you want to belong. Fear of loss demonstrates how much you love. Your negative thoughts aren't evidence of your weakness. They're proof of your humanity, your capacity to care, your courage to want more from life. Marcus Aurelius faced plagues that killed millions, wars that threatened civilization, and personal losses that would break most people. But instead of letting these experiences embitter him, he used them as raw material for wisdom. He transformed his pain into philosophy, his struggles into strength, his wounds into wisdom. The next time a negative thought attacks you, don't run from it. Ask it, what are you trying to protect? What do you care about so much that you're willing to create all this suffering to avoid potential pain? Then thank it for caring and tell it you'll take it from here. Your negative thinking isn't your enemy. It's a misguided friend. And when you reframe your pain as power, your struggles as strength, your obstacles as opportunities, you don't just overcome negative thinking. You transform it into the very fuel for your greatness. Right now, two people can look at the exact same situation and have completely opposite experiences. One sees opportunity, the other sees obstacles. One sees growth, the other sees failure. One sees a temporary setback, the other sees permanent defeat. The difference isn't in what they're looking at, it's in how they're looking at it. This is what Marcus Aurelius called the discipline of perception, and it's your secret weapon against negative thinking. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. But here's what most people miss. He wasn't saying ignore reality. He was saying that reality isn't what happens to you. It's how you interpret what happens to you. Let me paint a picture that might break your heart open. You've been living in a prison of your own perception. Every failure you've experienced, every rejection you've endured, every mistake you've made. You've been the judge, jury, and executioner of your own experience. You've been telling yourself stories that aren't just untrue, they're destroying your life. Your negative thinking loves absolutes. Always. Never. Everyone. No one. It paints in black and white when life is actually painted in infinite shades of color. It tells you one rejection means you're unlovable. One mistake means you're incompetent. One setback means you're destined to fail. But what if the job rejection wasn't about your worth, but about fit? What if the relationship ending wasn't about your lovability, but about compatibility? What if your current struggle isn't punishment, but preparation for something greater? Marcus Aurelius trained himself to see setbacks as setups, obstacles as opportunities, problems as possibilities. When faced with any negative situation, he would ask, "What can this teach me? How can this strengthen me? What opportunity is hidden within this challenge?" The discipline of perception isn't positive thinking. It's accurate thinking. It's seeing the whole picture instead of just the shadows. It's recognizing that every sunset is also a sunrise somewhere else. Every ending is also a beginning. Every breakdown is also a breakthrough waiting to happen. Every morning, you wake up to a battlefield. The moment your eyes open, your mind starts flooding you with worries about the day ahead, regrets from yesterday, and 1,000 reasons why you're not ready for what's coming. But Marcus Aurelius discovered that the first hour of your day doesn't just set the tone. It builds the fortress that will protect you from every negative thought that tries to invade your peace. Picture this. You wake up and immediately reach for your phone. Within minutes, you're bombarded with news that makes you anxious, social media that makes you feel inadequate, messages that stress you out. Before you've even left your bed, your mind is already under siege, already defeated, already drowning in negativity. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his morning reflections, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." But here's the genius part. He wasn't being pessimistic. He was preparing his mind, building his fortress before the battle began. Your morning routine isn't just about coffee and getting dressed. It's about armoring your soul for whatever the day throws at you. It's about filling your mind with strength before the world tries to fill it with weakness. It's about choosing who you want to be before life tries to choose for you. What if instead of starting your day consuming other people's thoughts and problems, you started by connecting with your own wisdom? What if instead of checking what the world wants from you, you first remembered what you want from yourself? Here's what Marcus Aurelius did that made him unshakable. He spent his first moments remembering his values, his purpose, his strength. He reminded himself that he had survived every difficult day so far, that he was capable of handling whatever came next, that his peace didn't depend on external circumstances. Your morning mind fortress isn't built with walls. It's built with wisdom. Not with barriers, but with beliefs. Not with fear of what might happen, but with faith in who you are. When you start your day by filling your mind with your own power instead of the world's problems, you become unbreakable. If morning is when you build your fortress, evening is when you strengthen it. Marcus Aurelius didn't just survive each day, he learned from it. Every evening he would sit with his thoughts, not to judge or condemn himself, but to extract wisdom from whatever had happened. This wasn't just journaling, it was alchemy, turning the lead of daily struggle into the gold of deeper understanding. How do you end your day? If you're like most people, you probably collapse into bed with your mind still racing, replaying every mistake, every awkward moment, everything you should have said or done differently. You fall asleep to the soundtrack of your own self-criticism and wonder why your dreams are filled with anxiety. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being." But by evening, he would reflect, "Today, I was human. I made mistakes, I learned lessons, I grew stronger." He understood that each day was both an ending and a beginning, both a completion and a preparation. Your negative thinking loves to hijack your evening hours. It replays every conversation, searching for evidence of your inadequacy. It magnifies every small mistake into a major catastrophe. It turns what should be a time of rest into a time of torment. But what if, instead of letting your mind randomly process the day's events, you guided it? What if you became the curator of your own experience, consciously choosing which thoughts to keep and which to release? Marcus Aurelius would ask himself 3 questions each evening. What did I do well today? What could I do better tomorrow? What did I learn about myself or life? Not to punish himself, but to honor the journey, to extract the treasure hidden in even the most difficult days. When you end each day by choosing gratitude over grievance, learning over lamenting, growth over guilt, you don't just get better sleep, you wake up as a better person. You transform your daily struggles into stepping stones toward the person you're meant to become. Here's a truth that will either terrify you or liberate you. Every thought you think today is building the person you'll become tomorrow. Every negative thought you entertain is a vote for the life you don't want. Every empowering thought you choose is a vote for the life you do want. Marcus Aurelius understood that thoughts aren't just mental events, they're the architects of destiny. Right now, in this moment, you're creating your future, not through your actions alone, but through the quality of your thinking. The thoughts you're thinking about your relationships are shaping your capacity for love. The thoughts you're thinking about your work are determining your potential for success. The thoughts you're thinking about yourself are deciding who you'll become. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." But he wasn't speaking theoretically. He was speaking from the experience of a man who transformed an empire through the power of disciplined thinking. He knew that the same mind that could create inner chaos could also create lasting peace. Your children, your friends, the people you influence, they're watching how you handle your thoughts, how you speak to yourself, how you respond to life's challenges. You're not just managing your own mind, you're modeling what's possible for everyone around you. Every time you choose hope over despair, every time you choose growth over stagnation, every time you choose love over fear, you're not just changing your own life, you're changing the world. Because thoughts are contagious, energy is transferable, and the peace you create in your own mind becomes peace you bring to every room you enter. Marcus Aurelius faced plagues, wars, and personal tragedies, yet left behind wisdom that still transforms lives 2,000 years later. Not because he never had negative thoughts, but because he learned to master them. Not because life was easy, but because he made himself unbreakable. The question isn't whether you'll have negative thoughts. You will. The question is, will you let them define you, or will you define them? Will you be their victim, or their victor? Will you leave behind a legacy of limitation or a legacy of liberation? We started this journey together in the darkness of negative thinking, and we're ending it in the light of possibility. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations for the world. He wrote them for himself, as a man struggling with the same thoughts that challenge you every day. But his private victory became humanity's public treasure. You now have the same tools that helped an emperor find peace in chaos, strength in struggle, and wisdom in pain. You understand that negative thinking isn't your enemy to defeat, but your teacher to transform. You've learned that your thoughts don't define you. Your response to them does. But knowledge without action is just entertainment. Starting today, beginning right now, choose to implement these principles. Build your morning fortress. Practice the discipline of perception. Listen to your inner emperor. Transform your pain into power. If this video changed your perspective, hit that like button. Share it with someone who's struggling. Subscribe to join our community of mental warriors. And remember, you have power over your mind. Realize this, and you will find strength.